My name is Fritz, and I used to be a professional juggler. Also a true story. And on a Saturday morning back in June of 2006, we posted a 3-minute video online that ended both of our careers. But thankfully it started new ones.
We put a video of what you're about to see online in June of 2006. Hey, it's our 10-year anniversary too. And in another few, 9 years, right? 9 years. No math required in law. We told exactly one person. We put this video online, we told my brother David, who lives in San Francisco, because we were not ready to go live on the website yet. We had a whole bunch of other stuff to do. We were going to be out of town. Fritz was going to be in Vermont coaching a circus. I was going to be here in San Francisco working on some stuff. And that afternoon, I'm looking at the website to see if it's up, to see if it's working, and there's a little view counter by our video. I say to Fritz, guess how many views we have?
And I knew we'd only had time to tell one person, but I was like, oh, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be like 400 people.
4,000. That afternoon, that evening was 14,000, and over the weekend, it just exploded.
And the scary thing is that now that video has been seen over 100 million times. Absolutely insane. All from telling one person. Now, it's taken us all over the planet. It's taken us from Istanbul to Manila, to Las Vegas, to New York. But I have to say that our favorite thing is that it has brought us here to Maker Faire. Absolutely. Maker Faire is where we just have the most fun. Maker Faire is where we meet our kindred spirits, where we meet the people who understand that it's not just about consuming, that it's about ripping something open and seeing how it works. It's about making something yourself. People who understand that science isn't just something that you study. Science is something you do. You can get wet, you can get dirty, you can just have a blast doing this yourself. And so, really, if there is one message that you take away from your time here at Maker Faire, if there is one message that you take away from your time here at the Eepybird Coke and Mentos show, we hope that it is this. Try this at home. It is all about doing it yourself. So let's show you the easiest way that you can do this yourself.
This is so simple. The basic way to do this is so simple. There's no reason everybody here shouldn't have done this before the weekend is over. All you need is a piece of paper, a playing card or a business card, or right here we actually have one of the new Eepybird Maker Faire trading cards. Roll the paper up into a tube, and then you're going to take 5 or 6 Mentos mint candies and put it into that tube. And you put the card on the bottom, and that will hold the candies in there, and you can put that whole assembly, they're all stuck in there now, put that whole assembly over the open mouth of a bottle. Now you need to do it like this because if you try to put them in one at a time by hand, after the first or second Mentos, the eruption starts and you can't get all 5 of them in. But if you do it like this, it's very simple. You pull the card out, the Mentos fall in, and it looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull. And the most important part, arms up at the end, yes sir. So that is so easy. Everybody here should have done it at least once. Now when you have 108 bottles like we have, we can't use that paper tube and card method. So we have something a little more complicated, but also something you guys can make yourself. We made all these back at the Eepybird Labs in Maine. This is simply a piece of PVC tube, plumbing tube you get from the hardware store. On top of that is a PVC plumbing cap. We've glued that to a bottle cap. We drilled out the top of the bottle cap, so we use the threads and we can glue that whole nozzle on the top of the bottle, and we can screw that on. Inside the nozzle, before the show, we put in 5 Mentos candies, and they're being held in place by a wire pin that goes through 2 pinholes at the bottom. So when we pull that pin out, the Mentos drop into the bottle, and we get that same nice reaction we got a minute ago with the card and tube, except this time we have drilled a hole in the top of the nozzle so we can shape the soda spray the way we want it. This one has a 1/2-inch hole, and that stops it down a little bit so the geyser looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull. There we go. Arms up. If you look carefully, you'll see that nozzle had a black stripe on the top, and that tells us that that's a 1/2-inch hole. This one has an orange stripe, and that has 3 smaller holes. And that looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull. Yes. And you don't have to just drill holes. We took a hacksaw to the purple ones. These are what we call a slot. And that just is a slot right across the top, and that looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull. Oh, we got him the splash zone there, yes. So you can drill any shape you want. You can cut any shape you want into those holes.
And there's one important thing for you to know if you want to make these nozzles yourselves, and that is the kind of glue that you will need. To attach the PVC cap to the PVC tube, that's easy, just some PVC cement. But the tube and the bottle cap are two different kinds of plastics, and it took us a long time to find the right kind of glue. So, to let you guys know, what you'll need is some 3M Scotch Weld DP8005 structural plastic adhesive. I can see some of you scribbling that down, and I'm sure the folks at 3M, appreciate applause for Scotch Weld DP8005 structural plastic adhesive. And I appreciate the applause for me having learned it, you know. Yeah, what you need is that Scotch Weld DP8005 structural plastic adhesive, because that has enough bond just in that little tiny circle to hold those pieces of plastic together. But you being makers, you're not going to want to stop there.
You can glue anything you want on the top of these bottles. That is just a sprinkler from Home Depot. We call it our donut display. But you can, this one doesn't move, but it makes a really nice donut spray you'll see during the show. But you can put the spinning ones on, you can put anything you want on top. So makers, be creative. And send us pictures or videos of stuff you make, because we really want to see them.
Absolutely. Now, one of the biggest questions that we get asked is, what is it about this combination of Coke and Mentos that makes for, well, such an explosive reaction? And you would think that it would be a chemical reaction. You'd think that it would be something in the ingredients of the soda and the ingredients of the candy, but in fact, it's predominantly a physical reaction. It's primarily a physical reaction called nucleation. And you can see nucleation in action if you take your finger and you put it inside a cup of soda. You'll see bubbles forming on the ridges of your finger. And what's happening is you've got all of this carbon dioxide, you've got all this fizz under pressure inside that soda pop, and it is trying to escape. And it will grab onto anything bumpy that it can find, like those ridges on your finger. Well, it turns out that the surface of Mentos candies are covered with tiny little bumps. They feel pretty smooth, but when you look at them under a microscope, there are lots and lots of bumps. Because in fact, we got to go to the Mentos factory in Holland, where all of the Mentos in the world are born. And the final stage of the creation of Mentos is they put hundreds of them in this big giant rock tumbler, tumble them around and spray them with over 40 layers of liquid sugar. And all of that sprayed on sugar means they're not only tasty and sweet, it means that when you look at that surface under a microscope, you see hundreds of thousands of tiny little bumps. And every single one of those bumps is a place for the carbon dioxide to grab onto. So when you drop a handful of Mentos into a bottle of Coke, and those Mentos drop to the bottom of the soda, well, you just get hundreds of thousands of bubbles grabbing on. You get bubbles grabbing onto those bubbles. All of the carbon dioxide comes right out of the soda. All that pressure is released. It sends the soda flying out the mouth of the bottle.
So when we were trying to figure out how to make the highest geysers, the best geysers for our video, we tried all kinds of experiments. We tried every soda we could find on the shelves in the stores. We tried every candy we could find. One of the things we needed to try once we focused in on Mentos was how many Mentos is optimal. So we thought we'd show you what some of our experiments looked like. Fritz right now has got a setup with one Mentos, and that looks like this. 3, 2, 1, pull. All right, arms up. So that was one. Next, 5, I think, is in the next one. There are 5. The setup here is identical. The tube is the same. The bottle's the same. There's 5 in this tube. 3, 2, 1, pull. Now we're talking. I'm sorry. And this last one, this one goes to 11. There are 11 Mentos in this tube. Let's see what this looks like. 3, 2, 1, pull. Yes.
I love this one.
Now we use 5 in our show, but as you can see, if you use 10 or 11 or 12 or 20, you get a little bit more. It goes a little bit faster.
And the other question we get asked a lot is, does it have to be diet soda? Do you have to use Diet Coke or Coke Zero? The answer is no. You can use just about any fizzy beverage, including fizzy beverages that are made for grown-ups. We have tested this extensively. You can use beer, you can use champagne. We actually got the biggest geysers we've ever seen using a German champagne called Zacht. And using Zacht, we got geysers, oh my gosh, I mean there's so much carbon dioxide in that champagne. We got geysers going about 50% higher than anything we've ever seen with soda pop. Absolutely amazing. But there are 2 super important reasons we use diet soda. We use Diet Coke or Coke Zero. First, there is a little bit more carbon dioxide in the diet sodas, so you do get a little bit more power. And it's all about power. Second, there's no sugar. No sugar means that it's not sticky. And given that we are about to get soaked to the skin for your amusement, we really appreciate that it's not sticky, as do everybody who has to clean all of this up. It's really nice not having it sticky. Now, when you get home and try this yourselves, there's one other really important tip for you to know.
The most important tip is this: use warm soda. Most of us keep our soda in the refrigerator where it keeps it nice and cold to drink. But using warm soda makes for much better geysers. It took us an embarrassingly long time to figure this out. When we started, we were using bottles we'd get from the store and leave in the house while we were working on developing the nozzles and the effects and stuff. We'd go outside and try them out, and it worked great. But the more we got into it, the more we were bringing bottles outside to sit next to us while we tried one after the other. And after a while, our effects were great, but our plain geysers were pathetic. And we couldn't figure out why. We were seeing videos of 9-year-olds in their driveway in Florida doing geysers that were 2 and 3 times as high as ours. And finally it hit us. They're in Florida. We're in Maine in March. It's cold outside. And it looked a little like this. Fritz has 2 identical setups. One of them has been sitting out in the sun in this overcast but warm black stage for a few hours. The other one's been sitting in an ice chest. And except for that, they're the same. See if you can tell which one is the cold one, which one is the hot one. 3, 2, 1, pull. The only difference between these 2 bottles is temperature. Yes. So when you do it yourself, use room temperature is enough. Use warm room temperature or warmer soda. Do not use the microwave. And also do not put them next to radiators to warm them up. We did that, and it started to melt the bottle on the plastic on the bottle, and we got this giant goiter thing on the neck of the bottle. But if you do have cold soda and you don't want to wait around, simply fill your kitchen sink with hot tap water, leave the bottle